Hey guys, how's it going? It's January 26th. We are on the eve of, I keep saying WrestleMania. We are on the eve of Royal Rumble, which is a very exciting time because that means that we are on the road to WrestleMania. Um, the storylines are usually the best around this time. It's just a time to get hype in wrestling. I've always enjoyed it. Um, and behind Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, I like SummerSlam because they always try to do some big things for the summer. So it's an exciting time. You have Royal Rumble on Saturday and you got playoff football on Sunday. So it's a great weekend. So let's just get right into it. What I think was going to happen at the Royal Rumble, what we might get at WrestleMania. I know the big news right now is what's going on with Vince McMahon and the lawsuit. I've already covered that. Actually, the video is getting prepared to be uploaded right now, so hopefully you guys will check that out. And then if you're listening to this, go check out that, what my thoughts were on that. So I'm not really going to get into that in here. Just a very small piece of it because it does involve Brock Lesnar. And there was some talk of Brock Lesnar possibly being a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. I cannot see that happening now. Now, yes, it's true if you read the lawsuit and read the text messages, which was crazy, and all the other stuff that you read, yes, Brock Lesnar's name was mentioned, but it was said that, listen, these two did not meet. But there was clear intention of Brock and this girl meeting, but it didn't happen because of the snowstorm. And the pictures were shared. So Brock definitely does have his fingerprints on this, not to the severe level of Vince and Laurinaitis and other people who were in there, all the kind of stuff that they mentioned. But WWE, or I should say, or TKO Holdings, is gonna want this to go away or die down. And I think it will in 6 months or so. Nobody's going to be talking about this because there's just too many things going on. You have an election, election year coming up. Well, coming up, we're in the election year. But, all the stuff that's happening with Trump, like all his cases are going to start coming up in court. He's going to start campaigning. I mean, let's get real. He's going to be the presumptive nominee. I know Haley is still in there, not to get into politics, but come on, it's going to be Trump. So Trump is getting into that mode. Biden's getting into that mode. The fact that Ukraine needs their funding, that Israel needs their funding, shit's popping off in Ecuador now, that U.S. looks like they're going to somewhat get involved in. There's just so many things going on that this story is just, you got the Super Bowl coming up. This story is just going to just disappear. And if you have Brock coming out to the Royal Rumble, you are just keeping the spotlight on this and you just want this to go away. So there is no way I can see, if that music hits and Brock comes out, I will be stunned. I see Triple H, listen, Brock, your ass ain't coming, sorry. Your ass ain't being part of WrestleMania. We just gotta wait. Come back next year, come back in the summer, come back in Survivor Series. But right now, you gotta stay away right now. So that's what I think is just gonna happen right now. There's no way Brock could be involved in the Royal Rumble. So that's aspect to me, that has changed. And WWE could get away with that because, it wasn't announced. So it's not like you announced him and now you got to replace him with somebody, better. So that aspect, I don't see Brock happening. Now, the other story that was sort of big before this whole thing with Vince came out was what was going on with Seth Rollins. And, he's hurt with his knee, the MCL, his injury with that, So I was going to come on and do something sooner, but I wanted to wait to see what was going to happen because I kind of felt that he was going to be at WrestleMania because if he couldn't, it would have been announced right away that, he has to have surgery. He's going to be out for however many months. He's going to drop the title, but he's going to address it on Raw. It would have been put out there already if he couldn't be there. And then it was just confirmed more so when he got interrupted by Gunther. So, and they pulled Seth from all, live events or whatever from wrestling, obviously, because he has to rehab. So that, yes, had to happen. And if you want him to make it to WrestleMania, yeah, he can't be wrestling because he's got to heal up. But if they thought that he was never going to make it to WrestleMania, they would have pulled it the title would have been stripped, and either they would have did a tournament, an elimination chamber or something like that to determine a new world champion, or they just would have left it vacant, and maybe they would have did something like, okay, the winner of the Royal Rumble can pick who they want to pick. And, since it already seems like The Rock is going to be, dealing with Roman, okay, let's say CM Punk, you win, you go to WrestleMania. Let's say we have the winner of Elimination Chamber. That person's going to go to WrestleMania, main evented against CM Punk, and that person will become the world champion. Something of that nature would have happened. Could something like that still happen? It's possible. Seth was on doing an interview. Well, it's a touch and go. I'm not going to say whether that's storyline or not because, listen, I don't know. I just know and I just believe that if Seth was really injured to the point that there was no chance of him making it, that if him just doing rehab wouldn't have helped, they would have just pulled everything off of him by then, and we would have known. So the other thing was the story in Sports Illustrated that got some traction, that they're changing the matches, that rather than getting CM Punk and Seth Rollins, we're going to get Cody and CM Punk and then Gunther and Seth Rollins. Listen, WWE has teased us a lot, and they like to do teases. So I'm not buying into that just yet because to me it doesn't make sense. The hot hand of the hot match, at least right now, underneath The Rock and Roman Reigns, the hot match is CM Punk and Seth Rollins because there's real animosity there. Could you try to build it and stretch it down? Yes. Now, I saw that some of the thinking or some of the reasoning why that they might have changed the match is because the level of the anticipation or the expectation of this match with CM Punk, if Seth was somewhat handicapped, it wouldn't live up to the hype. So let's push it back to SummerSlam, push it back to another time. And the reason why I think that's bullshit is because Seth is going to have a great match no matter what. So you're telling me he's not going to be able to give a peak performance against CM Punk, so it's okay for him to give a half-assed performance against Gunther? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't make sense. So if they're changing the match, it's because they think they can sort of stretch this out more and make it hotter and make you want it more, as opposed to because Seth is injured and the match won't be as good because there's a risk he could be hurt. That's just a stupid reason to me to do it. And I would be surprised if they did switch Gunther in with Seth because the excitement and the hype is not there. The expectation is already set for Seth and CM Punk. And to now throw Gunther in there, that to me doesn't make sense. And it's not a hot match. Like, nobody is clamoring for that match right now. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, I thought they had a great promo. And I think they did a good job of starting to build something with it. But again, that level of anticipation with it is not there like for Seth and CM Punk. So I believe, my first prediction is, I believe that CM Punk is winning the Royal Rumble. It's not Cody. Now, I could be wrong, but part of me is thinking that CM Punk and Cody will be the last two. And that Cody's going to get dumped out by CM Punk. That's what I think. It's possible they could continue something with Shinsuke, and Shinsuke could cause Cody to get tossed out. I'm just guessing, but that's how I see it. I'm seeing it as the final four would probably be Cody, CM Punk, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Gunther. Those are my final four predictions. And I think Shinsuke gets eliminated by Cody. I think CM Punk eliminates Gunther. And I think CM Punk eliminates Cody, maybe with or without the help of Shinsuke Nakamura. That's how I see that playing out. I've seen a drip, like maybe one or two spots of maybe The Rock entering the Royal Rumble, him being the surprise entrant, him winning, and that's how he gets his match with Roman Reigns. It is possible that happens. I am going to say I won't be surprised if I see that happen. But I'm going with the final four: Cody, CM Punk, Shinsuke, and Gunther. I mean, I guess I could maybe take out Shinsuke. Maybe Drew McIntyre would be one of the final four. and maybe they'll do something with Drew McIntyre and and Cody Rhodes. I'm trying to think about that for a second, because where does Drew McIntyre sort of fit in that? You know? Because there is some beef there, because McIntyre does blame Cody for bringing Jey Uso. You know what? I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to say the final four is going to be Gunther, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes. I'm going to take out Shinsuke, because I think with them pulling, I think that's what I'm going to go with. Because with them pulling Cody Rhodes out of the title picture because of The Rock, they need to do something with him. And you've already sort of planted the seeds already with Drew McIntyre blaming Cody Rhodes for bringing Jey Uso back. Could they do Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre? Yeah, but I think that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going with that. I'm sorry, Shinsuke. I'm pulling you out. Final four: CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Cody Rhodes. CM Punk's the winner. The final two will end up being CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk throws out Cody. My backup scenario is The Rock comes in and eliminates Cody and CM Punk. Is it possible that could happen? Yes, that The Rock could be in the Royal Rumble, because how else is this happening? Because usually it's, if you don't win the Royal Rumble, you go to Elimination Chamber. Is Rock going to be in Elimination Chamber? I don't think so. Could it? Yeah, you never know. But I don't see it. But you have that Rock hanging out there. So I'm going to say Rock as a dark horse, because you have him hanging out there because, I mean, it's just the Rock has thrown a wrench in this. It's so hard to see where they're going to go with this and how they're going to get the Rock into this match. If Rock is not going to win the Royal Rumble, if you're not putting the Rock in the Royal Rumble, and if you're not putting the Rock in Elimination Chamber, what do you do? Now, they have done in the past where Elimination Chamber has nothing to do with the world title. So they could do it where Gunther has to defend his title, which could very well happen because Gunther has a number of people coming for him. It could be Gunther versus Gable versus, Sheamus could always come back for it, versus Bronson Reed. You could put Bronson Reed in there. Ivar has been sniffing around, and you could throw the Miz back in there. So you could definitely do the Intercontinental title as a main event for Elimination Chamber. You could absolutely do that. So it's just hard with The Rock being back because we were so sure it was going to be Cody versus Roman and CM Punk versus Seth. But it's hard now because The Rock is in there. We don't know how they're going to get The Rock into the picture. So maybe with the expectation of Brock coming, maybe they'll get The Rock. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm still going to go with that's what I think. So I think CM Punk is winning. As far as the women's Royal Rumble, that's hard to figure because I think everybody assumes the favorite is going to be Becky Lynch. And I believe Becky has not won a Royal Rumble yet. And right now, out of the crop of the women, I would like to see a new face win, but they haven't really built anybody up, to tell you the truth. So it's going to come down, to me, it's going to come down to either Bayley or Becky. I would like to see it to be Bayley because I think Bayley has been very generous over the last several years. She's put herself in a position to help get other women over. And I would kind of like to see sort of like the prophecy that Undisputed Era did. I would kind of like to see that storyline where the goal is you get all the gold. So the Kabuki Warriors are the tag champs. You have Io Sky as the WWE Women's Champion. And then you have Bayley go after the world title, but lose. And then that's where we see they kick her out of the group. And, somebody else, maybe, can't think of the other girl who's in there. she takes over as the leader. The name is not, I see her face, but the name's not coming to me. That she takes over as the leader. You know, so I mean, I don't think Becky needs a win, and you can still get Becky into the main event at WrestleMania through the Elimination Chamber. So it's going to be between Bayley and Becky Lynch. It's obvious that that's the clear winner. You know, it's not going to be Bianca Belair. You know, I think she's had her time in the spotlight. I think it's time for her to kind of stay out of it. To tell you the truth, I really don't think it should be Becky. I probably would disagree with it being Bayley, but I think for storyline purposes, I think it should be Bayley. You know, does Asuka need it? No. You know, could Nia Jax use it? Yes. I would like, could Nia Jax use it? I would love to see Shayna Baszler. I would like to see Stark, but she's fairly new and she's probably not really ready yet to get that. I don't really see them trying to push her to the sky yet. But I would love to see Shayna Baszler. I think, she needs to get her time. Vince just fucked her character when she got there. But returning Nia Jax, it probably doesn't hurt to have her win. But I really don't want it to be Becky, but I think it's going to be Becky. But I prefer Bayley. So my two choices is Becky and Bayley. But I will say, most likely it might be Becky. Unless, they do a funny job with it. As far as the world title match with Roman, I mean, obviously we know Roman's winning. The question is who takes the pinfall. I think it should be LA Knight because I think AJ has taken so many pinfalls since he's been back. I think it should be LA Knight, but I mean, there's nearly no point in trying to dissect that match because it's so obvious who's going to win that match. Could The Rock show up after that? Never know. And as far as the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, again, that's an obvious one. Logan Paul's going to retain the title. I really kind of hate that. That's a person of the stature of a Kevin Owens losing to Logan Paul. I think it's ridiculous, but it's part of the storyline. That's what they're doing. So I think 3 of the 4 matches on this card is predictable. How we get to that point, that's the curiosity of it. I think the hardest one to tell is the Women's Royal Rumble and who's going to win. Because I think you have viable choices between Becky, Bayley, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, but, she's so far on the list, she's not going to do it. And maybe Zoe Stark. I mean, she could be the dark horse. That could be the real surprise of the night, that it's her who wins. But again, nobody's clamoring to see her versus Rhea. But maybe there will be interest between her and Io Sky. It's possible. But the heavy match that everybody wants to see right now is Becky and Rhea Ripley. Nobody is clamoring for a match with Io Sky. It hasn't been built that way because she's just been so buried. Not buried in a negative way, but she's just been so ingrained in the Damage Control storyline that you haven't really seen her make an enemy. If Charlotte Flair didn't get hurt, I think it would have been Charlotte Flair and Io Sky, because remember a little history, when Charlotte was the NXT Women's Champion, who won the match? I think it was a triple threat match or a fatal 4-way match, but, who won the match? Io Sky. Who dethroned her? Io Sky. So I think if Charlotte didn't get hurt, that's who we would have seen. That's who we would have seen challenge Io Sky. But I'm not seeing that right now. So I think it's Becky. Becky and Rhea, I think is what we're getting. Now, Bayley could win. Bayley could win the match. And maybe do a little storyline with Becky where she's having some self-doubt. And we get Bayley, but like I said, the hot match is not there. I think they could still do it, where you're kind of turning Bayley back into a babyface. And like I said, she loses at WrestleMania, and now the group kicks her out. The whole group fulfilled the prophecy. Io kept their title. The Kabuki Warriors got the women tag titles. And maybe they cost her the match. Maybe they'll cost Bayley the match, or Bayley just loses. And at WrestleMania, they kick her out. So that's how I'm seeing it. So just as a recap, for the men's Royal Rumble, the final four to me will be CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther, and the winner is going to be CM Punk. Roman Reigns is going to keep his title. Logan Paul is going to keep his title. And for the women, I think it's going to be between Becky and Bayley, but I think they're going to go with Becky Lynch. So we'll see if I'm right. So that's it for this. Let's see if The Rock shows up. I mean, we don't know, because at some point they're going to start building this thing, It's being built up for the last year and a half. Everybody's been clamoring for it, but let's see if we get it. But that's it for this. I'll be back after the Royal Rumble to give my thoughts on it, to see if it was good or not, or how predictable. But like I said, this does seem like a pretty predictable card. I just think that the women's portion is a little bit harder, but we know CM Punk is going to WrestleMania, and he is finally going to get to headline one, as he's wanted to do for such a long time. So, hope you enjoyed this. Check out the video on the Vince McMahon thing. Let me know your thoughts about the Royal Rumble. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think might be a little bit of a surprise entrant? And I'll be back afterwards, so enjoy the Royal Rumble. SmackDown just came on, so we'll be watching SmackDown. But enjoy the Royal Rumble, and I'll be back afterwards with my take on it.